presenter of 2018-19 Black History presentation is Ms. Noemi Glenn. Let's give her a hand. Whenever you're ready.
Mae Jemison was born on October 17, 1956 in Decatur, Alabama. She is the oldest of 3 children born to Dorothy Green and Charlie Jemison. She has a younger sister, Ada Jemison, and a younger brother, Charles Jemison. She is important to Black history because she was the first female African American to go into space. She also completed medical school and after that joined the Peace Corps, where she worked from 1983 to 1985. She holds 9 honorary doctorates, which are given to people with high achievements in science, engineering, and humanities. Some interesting facts about her. She has a fear of heights. She spent over 190 hours in space during her first visit. Her space mission name was Endeavour STS-47. After leaving NASA in 1993, Jemison accepted a teaching position at Dartmouth College. Some quotes from Mae Jemison are, "I like to think of ideas as potential energy. They're really wonderful, but nothing will happen until you risk putting them into action." Another one. "The really wonderful thing that happened to me when I was in space was this feeling of belonging to the entire universe."
Daisy Lee Gaston Bates, the life and story of Daisy Bates. Daisy Bates was born on November 11th of 1914 or 1913. No one knows her actual birth year. She was also born in Huntick, Arkansas. Her spouse was Elsie Bates. Her siblings were Emmett Gaston, Lucas Gaston, Willow Gaston, and Leo Gaston. Her birth parents remain a mystery. Before the age of 7, she was taken in as a foster child to Susie and Arlie Smith, a mill worker in Huntick, Arkansas, just 3 miles away from the Louisiana border. She was an African American civil rights activist. She was American civil rights activist, publisher, journalist, and lecturer who played a leading role in the Little Rock integration crisis of 1957. She was also a mentor to the Little Rock Nine, the African American students who courageously integrated Central High School in Little Rock in 1957. Mrs. Bates and the NAACP took the Little Rock School Board to court at the time. Ernest Green was attending high school in the Black one in Little Rock, Arkansas. Daisy was in the papers indicating that she was going to challenge the Little Rock School Board to hear the 54 decision. The reason that they put the plan together was because Mrs. Bates forced them to put the plan together, says Ernest Green.
Lawrence Eugene Doby was born on December 13, 1929 in Canton, South Carolina, to David Doby and Etta Brooks. Later lived with his relatives for a portion of his childhood after his parents divorced and his mother moved to Paterson, New Jersey. Doby joined her in 1938 to attend East Side High School, and later he attended Long Island University, where he began to play different sports. Larry began his baseball career as a star in the Newark Eagles of the Negro National Leagues and was also the first African American player to play professional basketball in the ABL. The United States was fighting World War II, and Larry left baseball to join the United States Navy in 1944. He married Helen Kirby in 1946. They had 5 children: Leslie, Susan, Larry Jr., Kim, Chris, Doby. Larry eventually played 13 seasons in the major leagues and was named All-Star 7 times during his career. Larry Doby joined the Cleveland Indians on July 5, 1947. In 1948 and 1954, the Indians won the American League pennant and the World Series in 1948. He also played for the Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. In 1962, he also went to Japan to play for Chukini Dragons. He became the second African American to play in the major leagues and the first to play in the American leagues. After retiring as a player, he manages the Montreal Expos, the Indians, and the White Sox. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1998. Larry Doby passed away on June 18, 2003 due to cancer. He was 79 when he died. On December 8, 2018, the Senate passed legislation to honor former Indians fielder Larry Doby, the American League's first black ball player, with a Congressional Gold Medal. Kids are our future, and we hope baseball has given them some idea of what living together and how we can get along whether you are black or white.
Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama was born on January 17, 1964, to be proud parents Fraser Robinson and Maurice Robinson. She has accomplished many great things so far in her life, but is most famously known for being the first African American FLOTUS, which stands for First Lady of the United States. Education. Michelle was raised on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. She attended 2 colleges. She graduated from Princeton University in 1985 with a Bachelor of Arts. She went on to attend Harvard Law School, where she graduated in 1988 with a Juris Doctor degree, Marriage and Family. In her early career, she worked at a law firm, Sidney Austin, where she first met her future husband, Barack Obama, in 1989. They dated a few years leading up to their wedding that took place October 3rd, 1992. Shortly after marriage followed their 2 daughters' birth. Malia Obama was born to Michelle and Barack in 1998, and Sasha was born in 2001. Accomplishments. In January 2010, Michelle made her first administration-wide initiative, Let's Move, to address the following problem of childhood obesity that was affecting the children of the United States. This encouraged children to make healthy eating choices and exercise. Also in 2010, Michelle made a trip to South Africa where she focused on youth leadership, health and education for the children of South Africa. She also got to meet the famous African president Nelson Mandela. In 2013, Michelle once again made history become the first lotus to ever announce the winner of an award at the Oscars. She got to announce the Best Picture of the Year, which was awarded to our girl. For accomplishments. In 2013, Michelle was named Most Stylish Woman by Stylish Magazine. She has the pose of a model with her height being 5 feet and 11 inches. In 2014, the beautiful Mrs. Obama launched the Reach Higher initiative to inspire young people to complete their education beyond high school, whether it's attending college or attaining a diploma in a vocational school. In 2015, Michelle joined her husband, Barack Obama, to launch Let Girls Learn, a U.S. government-wide initiative to help girls all around the world to go to school and be able to stay in school. Conclusion. Michelle used her influence at the fullest to inspire, motivation, and help children across the world. Even though her husband is no longer president, Michelle is still actively involved in several programs that are geared towards helping children. This is one remarkable African American woman that has been a great influence to many people.
Whenever you're ready.
Carl McCain, Legendary Robson. Carl McCain was born on September 15, 1889 and died on May 22, 1948. He lived in Sunnyvale, Caledon Parish in Jamaica. The candid realistic style Claude McKay developed focused on the depiction of an authentic blackness, and his work set the stage for the poets of the Harlem Renaissance. He was the youngest of 11 children, and he also lived with his parents. When he was a child, his parents taught him the rural farming traditions of Jamaica and passed on to him a deep sympathy for the oppressed. His early poems were written in the dialect of black country folk, with whom he felt a real kinship. He moved to New York City in 1914, where he wrote for radical socialist journals such as Seven Arts and Liberator. Glenn McKay found an American society hopelessly corrupted by racism and greed. He published the If We Must Die poem in the July issue of The Liberator. Claude McKay was three things. He was a writer, a journalist, and a poet. The Liberator was an American abolitionist newspaper founded by William Lloyd Garrison and Isaac Knapp. The poem If We Must Die was published in the July issue of The Liberator in 1919. O kinsmen, we must leave the common foe. Though for our number, let us show us brave, and for their thousand blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men we face the murderous cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. I used this book, Harlem Stomp, to find information about Claude McKay. It is written by the band Carrick Hill, and has all the African Americans in the Harlem Renaissance, which took place in Harlem, New York in the 1920s. Thank you.
Second, you get together. Then when you're ready.
My name is Leah Williams, and today I'll be presenting Sojourner Truth. Sojourner Truth was married to Thomas Jeffries Williams. Together they had 5 children. James and Diana, who were both born in 1815. Peter, who was born in 1821. Elizabeth, who was born in 1825. And Sophia, who was born in 1826. But James died in early childhood. For Sojourner Truth's occupation, she was an African American preacher and a civil rights activist. Her civil work earned her a invitation to President at the time, Abraham Lincoln, in 1866. Sojourner Truth was born with a different name at one point in her life. Her name was Isabel Bumford. Also, she was a women's rights activist and performed poems that are now famous today, like Ain't I a Woman? Sojourner Truth was born to slavery but escaped with her infant daughter Sophia in 1826. Also, just a few days ago, on February 1st, 2019, Miss Truth made the homepage of Google. Miss Sojourner Truth was born in 1797 in Rifton, New York. She died on November 26, 1883 at her home in Battle Creek, Michigan at age 86. Today, Miss Truth will be 196. I would like to share with you a part from AI Women. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it right back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it, the men better let them.
Louis Letton was born in Chelsea, Massachusetts on September 4, 1848, and died December 11, 1928. The reason of his significance is because he made the carbon filament for the light bulb. His wife's name is Mary Wilson Lewis. He had 2 daughters named Emma Janet Latimer Norman and Louis Rebecca Latimer. The occupation of Louis was an inventor. And my interesting fact is Louis fought in the Civil War before taking a job as an office boy in a patent office.
Today, for my Black History person, I chose Nelson Mandela, President. Nelson Mandela was born in July 18, 1918 in Movezo, South Africa. He died on December 5, 2013, Houston Estate, Johannesburg, in South Africa. Nelson Mandela is considered by many to be the father of South Africa. Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist, which means that fought for those who were disadvantaged by the system of racial segregation. Mandela became a civil rights leader, leading many against the apartheid government. Apartheid was a system of racial inequality which kept all races separate from one another. In 1994, Mandela was of key importance in negotiating the freedom and equality of all South Africans. He then became South Africa's first democratically elected president. His family members were that his mother was Nonkwafi and Kenny. His father was Nkosi Mfakan Iswa Godla Mandela. He had 6 sisters and 3 brothers. He had 3 wives. His first wife was Evelyn Ways. He married her in 1944 and divorced with her in 1958. His second wife was Winnie Mandela. He married
her in 1958 and divorced with her in 1996. Lastly, her third wife was Gracia Machel. He married her in 1998 and divorced with her in 2013. He had 3 daughters and 2 sons. His jobs were he was a lawyer, writer, statesperson, a philanthropist, social activist, and a peace activist. Facts. He attended Fort Hare Missionary College. However, he was expelled for organizing a strike against the white rule of the college. He studied law at the University of Waterston. He was sentenced to life in prison for life. In 1942, he joined the African National Congress. He became deputy president of the African National Congress. He was a lawyer in addition to an activist and politician. While he was in prison, he was told that if he stopped his acts of violence, he would be allowed to go free. He did not agree to provision. Mandela was in prison for over 27 years. In 1994, he became the first president of South Africa to be elected by a democratic system, and he became first black president. Once he was finished with his presidency, he became an advocate in support of people suffering from AIDS. He has honorary degrees from more than 50 universities worldwide. Thank you.
Mary Anderson was born on February 27, 1897, and died on April 8, 1993. Anderson was an American singer, and she was one of the most celebrated singers of the 20th century. Anderson became an important figure in the struggle for black artists to overcome racial presidency in the United States during the mid-20th century. Mary Anderson has 2 sisters, Alice and Ethel, who also became singers. In July 1943, Anderson married Orpheus H. Fisher, a Delaware architect she had known since her childhood. Anderson's parents were both devout Christians, and the whole family was active in the Union Baptist Church in South Philadelphia. When Anderson was 12, her father was accidentally struck overhead while at work at the Little Terminal just a few weeks before Christmas of 1909. Some of Anderson's songs are "My Little Morning," "He's Got the World in His Hands," "All Over the Beautiful City," and "Deep River." Please take a moment to listen to one of her songs.
Genius draws no color line. And so it is fitting that Marian Anderson should raise her voice in tribute to the noble Lincoln whom mankind will ever honor. Miss Marian Anderson.
Marcus.
Black History Project, Muhammad Ali, Leon Wallace. 3rd, April 19, 2019, is the innocent class. Black History Project. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The hands can't hit, what the eyes can't see. Muhammad Ali was a professional boxer. He fought in the heavyweight division. That means each boxer has to weigh at least 200 pounds. It has no limit in how much they weigh. Ali won an Olympic gold medal at the age of 18. He became the heavyweight champion of the world when he was just 22 years old. He won the championship 4 different times. His boxing record was 56 wins and only 5 losses. He knocked out 37 people. Muhammad Ali was born in Louisville, Kentucky on January 17, 1942. He died on June 3, 2016 at the age of 74. He was married 6 times and had 9 children. Mr. Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer of them all.
Black History, Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker was born 1867. She died 1919. She was the first black woman millionaire in America for her successful line of hair care products. Born Sarah Beloved, she was widowed by age 20, and she took work as a laundress after seeking treatment for her lips. She developed the Walker Stadium and sold her homemade products directly to black women. At the time of her death, Walker was considered to be the wealthiest African American woman in America. She was remembered as the first female self-made millionaire in America, and Walker's estate was worth in estimated $6,000, about $8 million in present day dollars upon her death. In 1882, at the age of 14, Sarah married Moses McWilliams, possibly to escape the abuse from her brother-in-law, Jess Paul. Sarah and Moses had one daughter, Lisa McWilliams, and Lucia was born on June 6, 1885. When Moses had died in 1887, Sarah was 20 and Lucia was 2 years old. Sarah married in 1894, but with her second husband, John Davis, around 1903, and moved to Denver, Colorado. In 1888, Sarah and her daughter moved to St. Louis, Missouri, where 3 of her brothers live. Sarah found work as a laundress, barely
earning more than $1 a day. But she was determined to make enough money to provide her daughter with a formal education during the 1880s. Beloved lived in a community where she sang at the St. Paul African Methodist.
Yes, sir, you can. Keep going.
Each.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Coretta Scott King was born April 27, 1927 in Mern, Alabama. Coretta Scott grew up on a farm and picked cotton to help make money for her family. As a child, she experienced.
Let's stop. Let's stop. Start Joe. First you told use the mic, and then that little skit that y'all spent all that time was just not really done well. So y'all make sure y'all edit that. So let's try this skit again. Now, let's try to be a little more serious, because you already upset with the giggling. We're not getting in that. So whatever you all are saying, be projected. So if you two out here protesting or whatever you're supposed to be doing, then your voices should dictate that. If not, then you don't need to do it. You understand? You can do it. Okay. Okay. And the microphone too. Just a second. And when you're ready.
Coretta Scott King was born April 27, 1927 in Martin, Alabama. Young Coretta Scott grew up on a farm and picked cotton to help make money for her family. As a child, she experienced the segregation and racism that were the standard at the time. Her family's lumber mill was burned down by white neighbors. Coretta and her sisters had to be bused miles from their home to attend the closest black high school. Though her parents were uneducated, they were determined to send all three of their children to college. Sister Addie was one of the first black students to attend Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Iowa, and Coretta joined her there a few years later. She was a gift musician and loved singing from a young age. She transformed from Antioch to the New England Conservatory of Music of Scholarship, studying voice and violin. Throughout the marriage, the Kings clashed about Coretta's role. She was thoroughly committed to the civil rights movement and wanted to take a public leadership role, but Martin wanted her to focus on raising their 4 children. Thank you.
Maurice can pass for 2.
Hold on. You do. Give me a moment to get set up. You need anything from me over there? Take your time. Again when you're ready.
Maurice can pass for 2 and learns that there is much dignity in telling the field as a warrior pole. Miami, Liberty, Washington. I was born in 1856. My real birthday is unknown, but we celebrate on April 5th. I was born in the slavery in Helford, Virginia, in Franklin County. My mother was a slave in and worked as the plantation cook. I never knew my father, but he was said to be a white man from the neighboring plantation. The man played no part in my life. When I was 9, my family and I gained freedom and under the Emancipation Participation. After emancipation, I taught myself how to read and began attending school for the first time. I worked in a soft furnace and more coal mine for several years to earn money. Then in 1872, I left home and walked 500 miles to Hampton Institute, a school established to educate free men and their descendants, where I worked all jobs to pay my studies. I graduated from Hampton in 1875 with high marks. I also attended Wayland Seminary in Washington, D.C. in 1878. In 1881, it was recommended by the president that the Hampton Institute that I, at 25 years of age, became the first leader of the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute, which is now known as Tuskegee University in Alabama. The new school opened on July 4th, 1881, originally used space for a local church. The next year, I purchased a former plantation which became the permanent site of the school. The Tuskegee Institute was devoted to train black teachers. Some of my other grand-accomplishments include the formation of the National Negro Business League, serving as an advisor to President Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft. And I was an author of 5 books and an orator, a speaker for those who wonder what that is. One of my well-known most debated speeches was the Atlanta Compromise, which was my philosophy on relations. In 1901, President Theodore Roosevelt invited me to the White House, making me the first African American to be so honored. I was unpopular, causing an angry uproar among whites. Both President Roosevelt and President William Howard Taft used me as an advisor to racial matters. While some Americans looked up on me as a hero, others saw me as a traitor. I was married 3 times. My first wife, Fanny Smith, who I married in 1882. She was a former student of mine when I taught at Maryland. We had 1 child, Patrice, in Washington, born in 1883. Fanny died in 1884. In 1885, I married Olivia A. Davidson. Olivia also stayed at Hampton Institute. She taught in Mississippi and Tennessee before going to Tuskegee to work as a teacher. I later recruited Olivia to Tuskegee Institute and promoted her to vice principal. We had two sons, Booker T. Washington Jr. and Princeton Davison Washington, before he died in 1889. In 1893, I married Margaret James Murray. She was from Mississippi and graduated from Fisk University, a historical black college. We had no children, but she helped me raise my grandchildren. Margaret apparently outlived me, dying in 1925. I remained the head of the Tuskegee Institute until I died. My death on November 4th, 1915. At the age of 59, I died of a congestive heart failure.
Good job, sir.
I will be talking to you about a young girl who made history just by going to school, and her name is Ruby Bridges. Ruby Bridges was born on September 8, 1954, in Taylortown, Mississippi. Ruby lived on a farm in Mississippi with her family. She moved when she was only 4 years old. Ruby and her parents moved to New Orleans to look for a better life in the bigger city. Ruby's mom and father are names of Lucille Bridges and Adam Bridges. Ruby also has 2 younger brothers and 1 sister. In 1960, Ruby Bridges was the first African American child to immigrate to Williams Franks Elementary School, which was an all-white school. The first day, Ruby Bridges had to sit in the office all day because no one would teach her. So she didn't do nothing that day. Ruby told her mother, Mom, school was easy. All the other teachers disliked the teacher who taught her because she was colored. Ruby Bridges and her mom was escorted by 4 marshals to school every day that year. She walked past crowds screaming violent words to her. She later said she was becoming frightened when she saw a woman holding a black baby doll in a coffin. Ruby ate lunch all alone and sometimes played with her teacher at recess. But she never missed a day of school that year. Ruby graduated from a desegregated high school, became a travel agent, married and then had 3 sons. Ruby married a man named Michael Hall, and her children were named Craig, Christopher, and Shane Hall. Ruby Bridges had her first interview when she was only 17 years old, and had a lot of interviews ever since. Ruby Bridges had an interview and she said that she thought that she was so smart that she had to go to college, but that college was actually an all-white school. Ruby Bridges is 64 years old and currently lives in New Orleans now. where she learns fashionable to help trouble youth at Williams Franks and other schools. She also works in other schools around the country to help proceed education. Thank you.